Madeleine Harvey here, and thank you so much for joining me today. In our video, we're going to be talking about how you can sing better right now. So it's my intent with this video to empower you to take command of your voice so that you can start singing better immediately. If you ever feel frustrated with your voice, please feel free to use the tips in this video as a sort of checklist to keep you focused, moving forward, and of course, improving. So if you like today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up or click the subscribe button below because I would love to see you here more often. There are going to be a total of 5 things that we talk about in today's video. So let's start with number 1, and it's a very big deal. You're going to want to do this every time before you start singing, and that is stretching your face. Opening some space. We need to wake up your instrument by activating some space because singing is all about the art of kind of guiding vibrations into some very intricate, sometimes interesting, but very small areas inside of your face. This is called resonance. Your ability to do this effectively is going to directly impact things like tone quality, pitch, range, power, and that's just to name a couple of things. So make sure that you take a couple of minutes before you get started, before you start singing, to actively open up some space. So let's play together right now, shall we? Bring a lot of aliveness into your eyes. Feels weird, right? Keep playing with me. Now flare your nostrils. Notice how that feels just a little different, right? Good. Now stretch your nasal passage by feeling the coolness of your air coming in and kind of circling around on the inside. Make different faces and notice how when you make the change of face that a different spaces just become open and available. Feel that? Good. Now send some sighs up there. You feel that? Open up? Good. Now open up some space directly behind your top teeth in the back like a yawn. Good. And feel how much easier it is to circulate your vibrations into your face now that space is available. Good. Now bring some openness into your mouth. Good. And be sure that as you sing, you work to hold those spaces open, okay? That's going to directly impact things, again, like range, power, pitch, and overall tone quality. So take the time to really activate and open up your instrument before you start singing. Number 2 is pitch matching. Well, that kind of seems obvious, I know, but just because it seems obvious doesn't mean it's automatic. Pitch is very deliberate and takes intention and focus in order to sustain accuracy within. But a lot of times, if you feel that you may struggle with matching pitch in singing, oftentimes that just speaks to a lack of muscle memory or familiarity with it. And that's usually because when people play with pitch, they play with a big interval like an octave or a low note and then suddenly a high note. So what we need to do is, again, start by micro progressions. Get to know what's called an interval, which just means space between pitches. Get to know pitch and intervals by making very small progressions in pitch. Humming works wonders because it sends your vibrations forward into your mask and you can register that resonance, but you can also feel the movement of the pitch. So again, as you're working on your songs or as you're playing around, make again small variations in pitch. For example, just feeling slight interval changes by using scales. But if you don't have a lot of scale knowledge, that's okay too. You can play with songs like Happy Birthday. And really, again, activate and open that space because you're going to see that there is a deliberateness to pitch matching. It takes focus, it takes intensity, it takes energy, which is why it's number 2 on our list. So take the time to be very specific about feeling those intervals in pitch. Very cool. So number 3, articulation. That one is kind of like amazing because it fixes a lot of issues that singers are feeling that they're stumbling upon. Because oftentimes when singers are first getting started, they tend to sing the way they speak. And a lot of people just kind of mumble when they talk. It's kind of socially accepted. But as we sing, we can't necessarily do that because not only is it very difficult for people to understand us, it also creates collapse in the face, which again kind of shuts off that openness that we're talking about, and collapse kind of happens. And then so there we get a lack of pitch, we get that lack of range, and there goes the whole neighborhood. Are you sensing that everything is coming back to space? Well done. So you want to overemphasize your words by wrapping your mouth around those words and being very clear about your communication. Not only is it going to project your thoughts and emotions clearly, but again, it's going to keep your tone focused forward so that it's very easy to do so. So be sure to set aside that time to really work articulation. It's going to feel weird, I know, but get used to it because again, singing is larger than life. And again, we're working on space, but there's also this sense of comfort with that openness. So be sure to articulate. Cool. Number 4 is experimentation. Now this one is interesting because it involves a sense of imagination. Don't be afraid to play with sounds and shapes that don't necessarily sound directly like you or that they make you sound a little silly. Because as we activate and explore our voices, sometimes we need the benefit and the assistance of a crazy sound to kind of get us there, right? Because it's all about access to spaces that we don't necessarily normally have access to in our daily speech. But we've got to be able to open them up as we play in our singing. Now, I demonstrate crazy sounds all the time in lessons. And sometimes I get a little bit of resistance from singers because they don't want to look silly, they don't want to sound annoying, and sometimes because they're so locked into a need for a very specific tone quality that they don't want to play with a sound that's going to take them away from that very specific sound, even though that sound is giving them access to greater parts of their singing. So I encourage you, have that sense of playfulness as you're playing around with sound. Just to give you a little example of some crazy sounds that will give you access. I love being like mariachi, like, yay, 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 yay! I wouldn't normally do that in my speech. Or I also love the sound like knee, and I go, because I find that it's very buzzy in my face. But that's what it is. It's kind of exploring your face acoustically, sending up some crazy sounds, all in the name of exploration. And don't be scared, y'all. Like, don't be scared to look silly or annoying, but get very comfortable with the absurd and the unknown, because right on the edge of the unknown is, whoa, wow, I just found a really interesting spot in my voice that, wow, it packs a lot of punch to it. Okay, so it's all about opening those spaces, exploring those spaces, and don't be scared to be absurd, because that's how progress is made, okay? Number 5 is making good choices. What do I mean? Well, I'll tell you. When it comes time to perform, choose songs that are in your comfort zone. Now, when we explore the voice, of course, it is all about going outside of the comfort zone and getting in touch with something new and something amazing. But when you're performing, you want to be able to anchor the feeling of confidence. That's really important. So choose a song that you know that you can do really well in. It's not just the act of singing that happens, it's also how effectively you communicate it and how you deal with those other sensations that are presenting themselves, like anxiety, nervous energy. There's a lot going on when you perform. So give yourself the best chance by choosing a song that you know you can do well. It's very natural to you and it's very conversational to you. And flex your performing skills and your performing muscles by, focusing in on those lyrics and those storytelling techniques and simply enjoying the act of performing. That way, again, you're anchoring that feeling of confidence and you're gonna wanna do it again. Sometimes people will choose a very complex song because they want it to debut their voice, but they might have needed a little bit more time with that song to really develop that song in their voice. What kind of is it's counterproductive because they chose a song that they weren't exactly ready for yet, and they in effect kind of sabotage themselves. And maybe it didn't go the way that they wanted it to go, so they've anchored a negative experience to performing, and it's going to take a little bit longer to get over that than it would have been choosing a simpler song and owning that song with pride and with energy and with space and articulation and just offering your very specific point of view. It's very important to make really effective choices, okay? So that was the 5 things that you'll need to start singing better right now. Let's review real fast. We have space. Make sure that you take the time to stretch and open your face before you start singing. Number 2, take the time to be very deliberate and focused about your pitch matching. Number 3 is articulation. Be sure to wrap your mouth around those words and express your thoughts very clearly. Number 4 is experimentation. Don't be scared to look silly with some crazy sounds. Might I recommend cows, monkeys, birds, babies, anything that really gives you access to an interesting new space. And number 5, make really good choices. You want to start and give yourself the best chance possible to anchor a positive experience while you're performing. If you put all 5 of those in your daily practice habits, you'll be singing amazing right now. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please be sure to give it a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, or click the subscribe button below. I would love to see you here more often. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye!